Colin, I think we are all super frustrated right now. One thing that is apparent is that Tom Thibodeau is out coaching JB. So do you think if the Cavs lose Game 5, should Bickerstaff get fired?
I think that JB needs to be on the hot seat in the sense that the organization needs to have a discussion with him. I could see where the Cavs stick with him until mid-season, and then if things aren't improving in some capacity, that he gets fired mid-season next year. That might be too late. That might be for bad reasons, whatever the case. That happens a lot in the NBA. We saw that with Ty Lue when the Cavs got rid of David Blatt, and Ty Lue did really well in that capacity. I think JB has done a really good job at utilizing some of this young talent, and he clearly gets along with these players and has a rapport, which from my understanding is really 98% of coaching in the NBA is if you get along with the players, then you're golden. So truly, really the way that I could see him getting canned is if the players kind of discreetly or not so discreetly go to Kobe Altman and say, we got outcoached, we need somebody else in here. And I could see that happening because, as the question states, Bickerstaff is not doing well from a coaching angle. He's not able to rely on players in a capacity that makes any sense in his rotations. The fact that, again, and Adam has heard me off air scream about this so many times, Ricky Rubio is not an option. Stop it. Stop doing that. Stop playing him. Because he's just not able to do anything. He got a ticky-tacky foul again in this game because his legs are not underneath him. He's not doing anything offensively that's breaking the defense down. He's just washed in this exact moment. So let him rest his legs and stop picking on him. And the rest of his rotations we've had questions about. So I think that he still might have a little bit of a leash left, but it could change mid-season next year.
Well, it's funny because Ricky Rubio saw 6 minutes, but those are 6 minutes that you just cannot abide. No, I understand, because really it shows that the methodology, the thinking of how to attack this team, there isn't one. He's grasping at straws by going after a guy like that that's hobbling off of a leg that's seen the same injury twice. And we're always worried about that with Ricky. If he's going to have a positive season, it's going to be next year. It's not going to be this year. So I agree with you. I think that he shouldn't be out there. Now, as far as the rest of the rotations and kind of what we saw from the game and what Bickerstaff did, it's funny, the other games I was kind of looking at it going, okay, he's not managing the rest of the team very well. I need to see a different group of guys in there taking shots, playing defense, scrapping for the ball, and I need to just see a little more of the 1 through 12 that's on the team. Tonight, he played 9 guys, and 6 of them were in double figures. You've got the Knicks that, they had 4 guys in double figures, but that actually is the best that they've done. And, out of some of the other games, they did a pretty good job holding the team from having a good outing. And looking at the stats, the Cavs were 36 of 77, the Knicks were 38 of 84. Okay, we were 6 of 23 from 3. They were 8 of 29 from 3. Free throws, 15 of 19 for us, 18 of 28 for them. Going down the list, we had 24 assists. They had 15. I mean, it's not common to see these stats and see a game that you lost by 9 points. I would expect that we had maybe lost by 1, and it even could have gone into overtime. So I couldn't agree with you more. We're being outcoached. And I think that's the one thing that if I could get in a time machine and mention it in one of our previous episodes of what to worry about for this series, it would be Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau is a great coach, and he's been there many times before. And he's proving that tonight and really in the series itself, that he can get the most out of the players that are on the roster. And right now, it doesn't seem that JB can get the most out of our team. So, obviously, it was a dud of a night for our star player. And when that happens and you only lose by 9 points, like I mentioned, that's also a little bit of a fluke. But when I'm watching, I noticed that with 8 minutes left, Mitchell's on the bench looking shell-shocked, not in there with the guys, not contributing to the game. And I thought to myself, well, when did Mitchell ever deserve to be sitting out right now? Garland deserved to be sitting in the first half. But Mitchell wasn't in foul trouble, and he wasn't in a situation where he needed to think on his play. You know, he's the leader of the team. This is his 6th year in the playoffs. I think that he needed to be out there for pretty much every minute of the fourth quarter to find his rhythm and to drive this team to a victory. And so that alone made me think, okay, maybe Mitchell will go to Altman and say, I don't know if I can win with this guy.
Yeah, I thought that Mitchell deserved to be rested a little bit more, but I agree with you. It probably went on a little bit too long. I do think that Mitchell was having some issues defensively, but again, you had Jetty Osman out there on the court with Mitchell at the same time. You know that Mitchell at times is our weakest defender in certain scenarios, but when you have Jetty on the floor, then you have two guys who can be picked on a little bit too much. And you still have Isaac Okoro, who exists. You still have Lamar, who exists. Even Dean Wade is a better defender than Jetty. And you are having issues, what you brought up earlier with the stats. You lost the offensive rebounding battle. And you have a 6'8", 6'9", power forward, small forward in Dean Wade, who didn't play 1 minute. Not 1 minute at all. You should have had 3 bigs out there and really said, we're shutting this down. We know the Knicks aren't fantastic shooters, but we're going to bring out a guy who is bigger than everybody else, and you tell him, go get the ball, along with all the effort that, you know, we see out of Mobley and Allen every night. So that's where I'm a little confused, because I agree. We both agree that Thibodeau is out coaching Bickerstaff, but he's doing it by showing his hand. I mean, he's playing poker and he's showing JB his hand and daring him to ante.
He's trying to win with the same hand every night.
Right. And that hand is rebounding. You have a guy in Dean Wade, you have a guy in Lamar Stevens, who are bigger players, who are bodies that you can put on these small forwards and guards to box them out. And I know I'm simplifying it.
It's okay to simplify it because it's just a game. It's the game of basketball. Yes, it can be difficult, but it's not rocket science or brain surgery. And at the end of the day, they're playing unimaginative. They're going out there with the same looks time and time again, and like you said, we have other people that have been consistent for us throughout the regular season, and they're not being utilized now. Mitchell is playing poor defensively. Well, yes, the playoffs are kind of when the refs allow defense to come back into the fold, but the NBA gave up on defense a long time ago. So if the team is going to get into a shooting match, I want Mitchell out there, not on the bench. Bickerstaff may be a better season coach than playoff coach. He may be more suited to winning in the regular season, and that could be the worst thing I could say about him. Something that you mentioned in the top of this that I wanted to comment on. I agree that it's very possible that he'll have that kind of a leash into the middle part of the season because he's got a longer contract still, and that doesn't mean anything though because the Cavs will hire you for 4 years and fire you immediately.
Nope, like
not
the Cavs.
Mike Brown.
I think I'm still paying Mike Brown for a sandwich.
Yeah, I did the other day when I paid for a ticket to the game.
Yeah.
But I see JB losing his job after this next game if they lose in the same fashion as these last two. Because how can they go into another season where they can feel so confident that they can play consistently in that 82 game window, but then still know they've got maybe an underperforming coach in Bickerstaff when it really counts, when the playoffs begin. They have to decide, is he capable of stepping up to the challenge of the playoffs and the difference between the two, right? The regular season and the playoffs. And this next game, or the next series of games, if they do win the next one and can continue the series on, are going to be huge for the Cavs deciding whether or not he can do it or not. So,
thank you for listening to the Cavaliers Basketball Club podcast. Let's go Cavs!